long story short as I can make it, ever since I was little, I've been so afraid of death. Like I was exposed to a lot of death at a very early age. So when I first saw Lost Boys when I was a little girl, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, vampires. And I became obsessed with vampires. So it was so awesome that fast forward to what I'm pretty much known for is being a vampire. My whole life, I've just always gravitated to because they live forever. You know what I mean? They live forever. It helps with my death phobia. So that's my deal with vampires. And that's why I'm so grateful. Like a lot of people think that I like bitch, moan, and complain about like my wrestling career, but it's like, dude, there's not many people out there that can say that they got to be a character that they've really been preparing for their entire life.
We're going to go to WWE, and we've already established a big fan of vampires, and then you end up being a vampire character. Fantastic. One thing I didn't realise until I read up on you today is that it was meant to be a group with you, Kevin Thorne, and apparently Gangrel was going to be brought back. Why was...
Oh yeah, Gangrel. Gangrel was duh. How can I forget about
Yeah.
Gangrel
I
in
was...
that group?
So, how come Gangrel didn't make it in the end?
He was a part of that with the sweeps of that first time because that was when I first got into OVW. So when I actually got to be a vampire, it was like a year later, like the same month, maybe not the same day, but the same month where like that's when I made my debut or whatever as a tarot card reader. And they already knew that was going to end up being a vampire. So I'm not sure why they didn't hire him back. But they, went with just Kevin. I mean, Jimmy Wang was already back, but they didn't go with him being with us either. So I'm not sure why. I have no idea. You would think it would make sense because he's like the vampire.
Yeah, did you ever consider getting the proper incisors, installed on a
I
permanent
did.
basis?
Kevin had them, but when I was on the road, I was paying off so much debt. Like I was like pretty broke, even though I was on like TV and everything. And it wasn't because I wasn't being paid proper. It was like I was paying off all these debts. So I just couldn't afford to do the whole molding and everything. So that's why I went to like the scarecrow things that you just kind of put in or whatever. And then after I was not there anymore, I was just like, why get it molded? I already have what works. So I just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah, they never fell out like the temporary ones, did they? When you go, and then they went,
There's been times where they've fallen out. There was even a time on TV where like I'm being all crazy and like me and Kevin are like he's leaving the ring and you see me kind of go to the floor and pick something up. It's because my fang fell out.
a couple more about the vampire thing I asked the fans, and a couple of fans wanted to know, where did the Ariel name come from? Did you pick it? Did WWE pick it?
They asked me what name I was wanting to go by, and I told them Shelly Webster from The Crow because I'm Shelly, and I thought that'd be cool. Shelly Webster, which was the fiance who dies in The Crow, and then so when they said no on that, and then I said Star because that's the girl on Lost Boys, the vampire girl in there. Her name's Star. They said no. So then they gave me a list and it had all these names on it. When I saw Ariel being a SoCal girl, I was like, Disney, let's go with Ariel. So that's how it happened.
Sweet. And the other one is, where did the upside down hanging in the ropes thing come from, the intro? Were you like a gymnast as a kid or anything, or?
No, right before I got signed to WWE, I was a waitress and bartender at a strip club called Spearmint Rhino. And the way I'd make extra tips is when I had to go clean the poles and like the stage during like the downtime. I would climb up on the pole and I'd swing down and I'd be cleaning it and all. It was like this whole thing. The DJ would be like, something happens to Shelly when we play Rob Zombie. And they would play, and I had my whole set. Of course, I wasn't dancing, like stripping, but I would just colorfully clean. And that's how I'd make extra tips. And so when I went to OVW and I was with Beth and Aaron, I kind of tried to incorporate that. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if like me and Beth went in the ropes and like kind of did this bend and like Aaron comes through. And so that's what we did. And then that didn't work out. So then when before I was a vampire, I was a pirate for one day on Velocity with Paul Burchill. And how that happened was they didn't know what to do with me. It was after they already knew what they're going to do with Beth and Aaron. And so Paul was doing this whole thing with Aaron at OVW with his pirate character. So Heyman turned it into that I was obsessed with Paul Burchill. And so I would dress up like a pirate and I'd be all psycho and like following him, whatever. So what they would do is when WWE would come into town, they would ask to see certain talent that were signed already to see if there's something, that they had for them on TV or whatever. And so I was just kind of there and I saw Vince at the ringside. So I just went up to him. I was like, hey, I'm from OVW. Like, I'm doing this thing where I'm obsessed with Paul Burchill. I think he's missing something and that something is me. So I want an opportunity to like show you. He's like, all right, let's put you on Velocity. And so we came out and then that's when I first did the hanging upside down because I just thought like it'd be like a great way to incorporate what I was kind of already doing with Aaron and Beth, but like making it a little different. So I was hanging upside down. And then that's when that first happened. So when the vampire thing came about, I was like, oh, we're going to cross the arms. I'm a bat. I'm an effing bat. Yes. So I totally came up with it and I'm very proud of it.